Good evening, children. Welcome to Turito, the online classes for the school foundation program, especially for class 7th. So today let us discuss in chemistry the advanced level questions that are going to be coming are those kind of the models of advanced level question that we can expect from chemical classification of matter. In the previous week we have discussed about the classification of matter on chemical basis into different categories, and we even gone through the discussion with respect to the advanced the main level questions, okay, the models which we can expect in the main level examinations from chemical classification. Okay. Today let us focus on the chemical classification of matter, the advanced level questions that we can expect from chemical classification of matter. Okay. So first one, yeah, question is given, dash and dash are metals which do not rust. Which do not rust means, rusting means undergoing chemical reaction, okay, chemically active we can say. Rust formation, we know that iron when it is kept outside for so many years, automatically because of the exposure of the iron rod to the atmosphere, it is going to react with the water as well as the oxygen present in the atmosphere and convert into the rust. Okay. So here they are going to give us some metals as options which are not going to react. In the previous class when we are dealing about the main level questions, there we come across the metals whenever they react with the oxygen they produce oxides, and the metal oxides are basic in nature. Metal oxides are basic in nature, right. So as the non-metals are going to give us acidic oxides, that we have discussed, and in the discussion I have mentioned that oxygen is capable of reacting with almost all elements in the periodic table except 3 elements. What are they? Platinum, palladium and gold. Platinum, palladium and gold. Okay. So these are the 3 metals which are called as noble metals. They are called as noble metals. Why they are called as noble metals? Because they won't react. Okay, they won't react. So here the question is given, which is not which are the following metals do not react, do not form rust means which are do not react. Rust formation means chemically active. Do not means they do not chemically react with any other one, compounds or the elements. Okay. So the reaction of the following metals is not possible, which are noble metals, which are do not react with other elements or other compounds. So gold, platinum, palladium, these are the 3 metals which won't react. That is what we are going to use gold. So if it is reacting, for example if I am using a gold chain, okay, if it is reacting with the moisture or oxygen present in the atmosphere, will the gold chain will look like the same after 1 year? No, it should decrease its weight and it should decrease its compound, it should also form rust. But I think you have observed that gold won't form any rust, no rust formation is possible. Why? Because they are noble in nature. Noble in the sense they won't react chemically. So chemical reactivity is absent in these metals. So which of the following metals are noble in nature? Which are the following metals do not form the rust? Gold and aluminium. Of course, gold don't form, but aluminium is capable of forming oxide. Aluminium oxide is going to be formed. Gold and silver. I think you have observed silver utensils when they are exposed to the atmosphere for longer time, automatically you can see the black coloring coating is going to be formed. So silver will react chemically. Gold and platinum, yes, gold and platinum won't react with the elements of the moisture or water, okay, oxygen. So they won't form any rust. Silver and copper. Copper, I think you have seen copper metals, the copper utensils. Copper utensil they get a green coating when they are exposed to the atmosphere for longer times. Okay. So the green coating is nothing but the rust of copper. Okay. And silver also gets a dark black colored rust. So silver and copper will give the rust, but gold and platinum they won't react chemically. So they won't form any rust. Rust formation means chemically they are non-reactive. Gold and platinum are non-reactive. Of course, we have palladium as well. Okay. Next one, the non-metal with a lustrous property is, the non-metal which is going to have lustrous property. What does it mean? Lustrous means, what is lustrous property? Lustrous property means the shiny nature. Okay. So, generally shiny nature is possible with metals. Metals are capable of exhibiting the shiny nature. So, shining property is associated with metals, but what they are asking, the non-metal with lustrous property. So, there we have discussed, generally non-metals are non-lustrous, they won't have any shining property. Shining property is absent in the case of non-metals. Okay, in the case of non-metals, the shining property is absent. Okay. So, when shining property is absent for non-metals, but there are some exception that we have in the case of some of the non-metals which are existing in solid form. When we expect shiny property, generally shiny property expected only when they are existing in solid form, because most of the metals exist in solid form, so they can expect it to be shiny in nature. But non-metals, most of the non-metals are gases in nature, only few non-metals are solids like sulfur, phosphorus and iodine. Okay. So, only these some of the non-metals are, only few non-metals are solid in nature, most of them are gases, and one is liquid, that is bromine. Okay. So, non-metal with a lustrous property that we can expect is iodine. Iodine is going to be exist as a solid at room condition. I think whenever you get a chance to visit the chemical laboratory, there you can just see the granules of iodine, small granules of iodine you can see. When you take them out and keep it in outside, as soon as the light falls on it, you can see the shining property. So, shining property is associated with iodine. Iodine is a non-metal. Okay. Sulfur also non-metal, phosphorus also non-metal, both are existing in solid form, but they won't have any lustrous property. So, shining property is absent for sulfur, phosphorus, boron, it is present for iodine. Okay. So, iodine is a non-metal which is having shining property. Which of the following non-metal is the hardest substance? Non-metal which is hardest one. Generally metals, they exist in solid form at room conditions. So, most of the metals are solids under room conditions. When the matter exists in solid form, we can expect the hardness. When we can expect the hardness? Hardness is expected only when the material or the matter exist in solid form. So, metals are solids, and because of the solid nature, metals are hard substances. But the hardest substance known to us, what is the hardest substance known to us? It is diamond. What is it? It is a diamond. Okay. So, hardest substance known to us is diamond, and we know that the diamond is an allotropy of carbon. It is an allotropy of carbon. Carbon is an element. So, it is a non-metal, which is carbon is a non-metal. Okay. So, the non-metal which is hardest substance. So, diamond is the hardest substance known to us. Diamond is composed of only carbon atoms, and when you observe the carbon, carbon is a non-metal. So, when you look at the periodic table, carbon is present at the top right side and it is a non-metal. So, the non-metal which is hardest is carbon. It is carbon, not iodine, sulfur or phosphorus. Of course, phosphorus, sulfur, iodine, carbon, all are non-metals only, and all are existing in solid form only. But of course, when you compare the solid nature or the hardness of the solid, carbon has the hardest substance. Carbon in a diamond form exhibit the hardest nature. Okay. Now, looking at the next one. Which of the following is pure substance? Which of the following is pure substance? So, we have to identify the pure substance from the following. So, which is pure substance? We know that pure substance means, what is pure substance? Pure substance is again classified into So it is going to have only one kind of atoms or one kind of molecules. Okay, so it can be an element or it can be a compound. Okay, pure substance can be an element or it can be a compound, right. So if you observe the options that are given, duralumin, duralumin is an alloy. Alloy means alloy is a mixture of metals. Alloy is obtained by mixing the metals in different proportions. Okay, so alloys are, these are alloys. Okay, duralumin is alloy. Alloy means it is a mixture of metals. Mixture of metals. It is not a pure one. It is a mixture of metals. Metals are pure, but when you are mixing 2 or 3 metals together, you are going to get an alloy. Alloy is not a pure substance, it is a mixture. Okay, so duraluminum is, if you observe, it is going to have aluminium, magnesium, manganese and copper as the combination. So it is a mixture of all these metals. Okay, magnesium, magnesium is again an alloy of aluminium and magnesium, and in this case, in the case of magnesium, we can expect or we can increase the magnesium proportion up to 50%. Okay, so it is a combination of aluminum and magnesium and very small amount of other components are also present. Okay, bell metal, bell metal is also an alloy. Bell metal is also an alloy. Bell metal is nothing but it is a brass only, but the copper and tin will be in 4:1 ratio. 4 parts of copper, 1 part of tin. When they are mixed together, we are going to get a bell metal. Bell metal is an alloy of copper and tin. Copper and tin is generally called as bronze. Okay, so it is a bronze. Bell metal is nothing but bronze only, but the proportion of copper and tin is going to be varied a lot. And here, if you observe, copper will be taken in 4 parts, tin will be taken in 1 part. So 4:1 ratio is maintained between copper and tin. And if you observe the option D, it is magnesium. Magnesium is an element. Magnesium is an element. So we know that pure substance can be an element or a compound, but here in this case, first 3 are given as alloys. A, B, C are called alloys. What are alloys? Alloys is a mixture of metal. So alloy, these are all A, B, C are mixtures. They are not pure substances. Okay, whatever may be the mixture may be a homogeneous mixture. Generally alloys are homogeneous mixture of different metals. Okay, so it is, these are all 3 are mixtures, whereas the 4th one is a pure substance. So a magnesium is an element. So magnesium should be the pure substance among the given options, right. So the first 3 are mixtures and last one is the pure substance. The element is a pure substance. So option D is correct option in this case. Okay. Next one, which of the following is polyatomic in nature? Polyatomic. So here the atomicity is whenever we have atomicity more than 3, in that case we are going to take them as a polyatomic. Okay. In nature, the element exist with more than 2 atoms are existing together in nature for the element, that is taken as polyatomic. Okay, and options are given: nitrogen, sulfur, oxygen, hydrogen. We know, we have already discussed about this one. Nitrogen in nature existing as N2, it is a diatomic molecule. What about this one? It is a diatomic molecule. Nitrogen is diatomic molecule. Look at the oxygen. Oxygen in nature exists as O2. O2 is also a diatomic molecule. How many atoms are present? O2. Oxygen atom taken 2 times. 2 means diatomic. N2, 2. So it is diatomic. Similarly, hydrogen, if we observe, hydrogen in nature exists as H2. So this is also a diatomic molecule. Hydrogen is a diatomic molecule. So sulfur, if you observe, sulfur in nature exists as S8. 8 sulfur atoms are present in one form, and sulfur in nature exists as S8. And if we observe, the sulfur in nature exists with a crown shape. So sulfur atoms are present on these corners, and in nature it exists in the form of a crown. Okay. So, you can clearly see the 8 sulfur atoms are put together, and this is the polyatomic. Sulfur in nature exists as polyatomic. One more we have an example of polyatomic molecule, phosphorus. Phosphorus in nature exists as P4. So, 4 phosphorus atoms are present in the form of a tetrahedron. So, all the 4 phosphorus are connected, or they are present in the form of a tetrahedron. So, phosphorus is a polyatomic, sulfur is also a polyatomic molecule. Okay. So, in nature, which of the following is polyatomic? Sulfur is polyatomic. It exists in nature as S8 molecule, S8. Yeah. As far as the advanced level questions are concerned, we can expect questions in the form of one or more than one correct type answers. Okay. So, let us see some of the questions from one or more correct answers. Yeah, which of the following metal exhibit poor conductivity of electricity? Poor conductivity, which of the following shows poor conductivity? Generally, metals are good conductors of heat and electricity, that we have discussed, but of course there are some exceptions in that case also. Okay. So, if we observe the given elements, tungsten is exhibiting poor conductivity. Okay. Copper is a good conductor of heat and electricity, there is no doubt, because we are going to use copper wirings. Okay. Silver is also a good conductor of electricity, so highest conductivity is generally shown by the silver only. Okay. And bismuth, if we observe, bismuth is one more metal which does not exhibit a good conductivity, or which exhibits poor conductivity of electricity. So, the poor conductors of electricity among the given options are tungsten is one element which exhibits poor conductivity, and also bismuth is one more element or one more metal which exhibits poor conductivity. So, copper and silver are good conductors. Okay, the copper and silver, if you observe, they are good conductors. So, among the given question, what are the correct answers? Tungsten and bismuth. So, A option is correct, C option is also a correct options in this case. Okay. Yeah, can you please try this one? Which of the following metals are not highly ductile? Which of the following metals are not highly ductile? What is ductility? Ductility is the property of making in the form of or drawing into the wires. Okay, making wires, or the metals are capable of converting into thin wires. Okay. So, which of the following metals are not highly ductile, which cannot be converted into wires? That is what they are asking. Okay. So, we have to identify the metals which are not ductile, which are not highly ductile. Yeah. If we observe gallium, zinc, gallium, bismuth and mercury, all are metals, and we know that all metals in nature exist in solid form except mercury. Mercury is a liquid metal. We know that, right? So, when mercury is a liquid metal, can we expect it converting into the wire? No. So, we cannot convert mercury in the form of wire. So, the correct answer in this case, first one is mercury. Okay. I think you have observed the gallium will have a low melting point. Of course, boiling point will be very high, but the melting point of gallium is very low. How much? It is around 29.7 degrees centigrades. So, under room conditions only it is going to melt from solid to liquid. So, what is melting process? The conversion of a solid into a liquid is generally a melting process. Okay, and the temperature at which the process is going on is taken as melting point. So, the melting point of gallium is very low. Since the melting point of gallium is very low, so under normal conditions the gallium will convert into the liquid form. When it is converting into the liquid form, can we make it in the form of a wire? No. So, gallium is one more option that we can take. So, which is not a highly ductile. And of course, bismuth, if we observe, bismuth also is not a highly ductile material. it is a metal maybe, and moreover it is exist in the form of solid under normal conditions, but we cannot convert or we cannot make the wires out of it. So bismuth is one more option which is not highly ductile, and we have left with one more, zinc. So zinc, if we observe, zinc is solid under room conditions and moreover it is highly ductile. So the ductility, further we can say that zinc wires can be easily prepared. So zinc is not highly, it is highly ductile. So this is not the correct option in this question. Okay, the question is given to identify the metals which are not highly ductile. Okay, zinc is highly ductile, so we are eliminating zinc. So we are coming from here, mercury under room conditions is exist as liquid, so we cannot make a wire out of a liquid. Solid can be converted into a wire but not a liquid, so we are ruling it out. Gallium, since melting point of gallium is low, so that is also cannot exhibit any high ductility. Bismuth, bismuth also it is not a good conductor, and also it is not a highly ductile metal. Okay, so bismuth is one more option. So here the correct options for this particular question, if you observe, one is gallium, other is bismuth, next one is mercury. So B is correct, C is correct, D is also correct option. So three options are correct for this particular question. Okay, let us see one or more correct answer types. Which of the following statement or statements is or false? So we have to identify false statement. False means incorrect statements. So we have to identify incorrect statements from the given statements. Let us see what are the statements that are given. Pure substance is heterogeneous in nature. What is pure substance? Pure substance is homogeneous in nature. It should be a homogeneous one. Pure means it should have only one kind of atoms, one kind of properties. So pure substance is always homogeneous, not heterogeneous. So this is an incorrect statement in the given statement. So first statement is incorrect, right. Next, look at the second one. The composition of a pure substance can be altered by any phenomena. Composition of a pure substance cannot be altered by physical means. Okay, composition of a pure substance can be altered by chemical reactions but not by the physical reactions, physical methods. But here they have mentioned any phenomena can be used in order to change the composition of a pure substance. Pure substance composition can be changed or it can be drawn into its constant particles or elements by chemical reactions but not by physical methods. So the physical methods are not going to work. So this is also a wrong statement. Any phenomena they have mentioned, it is not any phenomena, only by chemical phenomena we can alter the composition. Okay. A pure substance has definite set of properties. Yes, a pure substance is homogeneous in nature. Since it is homogeneous in nature, it will exhibit a pure set of properties. A set of properties, a definite set of properties, a fixed set of properties are going to present for a pure substance. So this is a correct statement, it is not a wrong statement, right. Option D, if we observe, a pure substance contains a fixed number of particles. Yes, a pure substance always contain, for example, if you take compound is a pure substance. Compound, for example, if you take water, it is going to have fixed number of particles, 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. So the number of particles are going to be fixed for a pure substance. So this is also a correct statement. Okay, what we have to do? We have to identify the false statement. Incorrect statement we have to identify. First statement they have given it as heterogeneous in nature for a pure substance. That is wrong. What is exact correct one? Pure substance is homogeneous in nature, but they have given it as heterogeneous. So this is the false statement. A is the false statement. Composition of a pure substance can be altered by any phenomena they have mentioned, but we can alter the composition or we can change the composition of a pure substance only by chemical reactions, not by physical reactions. So this is also a wrong statement. C and D are correct statements that are given. So for this particular question, what are the false statements? First, A is false statement, B is also a false statement. So both are false statement. A and B are false statements. Okay, right. Let us look at matrix matching type. So this is also one more area for the advanced level questions we can expect in the examination. So two columns will be given, column 1 and column 2. So the properties of column 1 and properties of column 2 will be given. You have to map the properties of column 1 with the column 2, and there may be chances of mapping one property of column 1 to the 2 or more than 2 properties of column 2 as well. Right, let us see. Gold, diamond, mercury, phosphorus. Gold, diamond, mercury, phosphorus. Column 2 they have given hardest substance, can be drawn into wires, that is ductile, highly ductile. Or solid non-metal, solid non-metal, non-metal which is solid in nature. S is liquid metal, metal which is in liquid form. We know mercury is a metal which exists in liquid form. So liquid metal is mercury, okay, and phosphorus is a non-metal which exists in solid form. So phosphorus is a solid non-metal, okay, and we know gold can be drawn into small wires. So the high ductility can be seen with respect to the gold. So gold can be drawn into wires. Diamond, diamond is the allotropy of carbon which is the hardest substance known to us. Diamond is hardest substance, okay. So here if you observe column A, the A is mapped with a Q, B is mapped to P, C is mapped to S, and D is mapped to R. So AQ, BP, CS, DR is the correct option that we can expect in the case of matrix matching, okay. So AQ, BP, CS and DR, okay. Let us see one more. The case of matrix matching, column 1 and column 2 are given. If we observe, A is given liquid metal at 29 degrees centigrade. At 29 degrees centigrade the metal will convert into liquid form, okay. B option if you observe liquid non-metal at room temperature. Under room conditions the non-metal which is liquid in nature, okay. Option C if you observe liquid radioactive element at room temperature. Under room temperature an radioactive element which is liquid in nature, which is going to emit the radiations. Fourth option if you observe liquid metal at 30 degrees centigrade. 30 degrees centigrade the metal which is exist in the liquid form, okay. Bromine, cesium, francium, gallium. We know bromine is a non-metal but it is liquid. So the liquid non-metal at room temperature is bromine, okay. And just now we have discussed that some of the metals under room conditions or low conditions they are going to melt, okay. So cesium melting point is 29 degrees centigrade. So at 29 degrees centigrade cesium will exist in liquid form. It is a liquid metal at 29 degrees centigrade. And francium is a radioactive element. So the radioactive element is francium, okay, radioactive element is francium. Metal which is in liquid form at 30 degrees centigrade, just now we have discussed that gallium is capable of converting into a liquid at 30 degrees centigrade, 29.7 degrees centigrade. So generally we can take it as 30 degree centigrade, okay. So if you observe here the mapping can be done. A is mapped to Q, okay, B is mapped to P, whereas C is mapped to R, D is mapped to S. So the mapping can be clearly seen here. A to Q, B to P, C to R, D to S. So this is how we are going to map the properties of column 1 with the properties of column 2 for the advanced level questions, okay. Students, I think you have enjoyed today's class with respect to the advanced level questions that we have seen in the case of chemical classification of matter, okay. We will come up with some more interesting topics in the next class. Until then, have a nice time. Thank you.